Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Turning on the camera yet again. We're going to continue on where we were last night. I'm sorry I jumped on a little bit later tonight. I actually was building a piece of furniture before I got on here. And it's almost done. I screwed up the wheels a little bit, but I don't really care. I don't really care. We're just going to go ahead and do a little painting tonight. Before we call it a night. And I wasn't going to stream, I know, but it honestly, it doesn't make a difference to me if because I'm painting every night, and it's just as easy for me to just flip the camera on while I'm painting. So, we're just going to do these when people want them, and also, what am I doing? What am I doing? We'll just do them when people want them and when I would normally have scheduled to do them. But here's what we're doing, and we're gonna get things started. I'm loading up my comments and all that other kind of junk, all that other good stuff. Watch on view page. But yeah, it was a busy night tonight. Hey, what's up, Albert T? Welcome to the feed. Busy night tonight, doing a lot of errands. Got to get ready for the baby's birthday parties this weekend. Yeah, we got things. What are these? What's this thing? What's this thing? And there's this another thing. There's another. Oh, who cares? What? Okay. Yep. Anyway, so we're going to continue on where we were painting yesterday, and we'll see how far we go. I mean, it's not. This isn't urgent painting. Again, this is painting more for me than anything else. Just getting a little caffeine in my system. So just a recap of what we did yesterday. We finished 4 of the other Dragon Tides Kung Fu miniatures. There's Tiger Ip right there. Pretty cool looking guy. And then we got, he's Dolph Lundgren, but we're calling him Guile. Looks like Guile to me. Pretty awesome. And we got this guy, Train Wong. I'm not sure who he is. I'm not sure who he's supposed to be exactly, but I like him. I think the miniature is super cool. And like, this is like my favorite guy. Looks like his eye got a little messed up there. We have to fix his eye. Looks like he got punched in that eye. Yeah, I'll have to fix that. Not a big deal. And then Bolo. They call him Goliath or whatever in this game. He's Bolo. We know who he is. Anyways, so that's half of the Dragon Tide box set. We're going to do the other half, or start the other half tonight. I was checking out the most recent Soda Pop Kickstarter. Man, a lot of people upset with them in Ninja Division. Yeah, and there's a lot. That's a messy situation, man, because you guys know I'm their themes for their games, and I like the company, and I volunteer for them, and then I defend them when I can. But it's a tough situation because they have like 3 or 4 open Kickstarters right now, and so the fact that they keep launching new campaigns is just driving people bonkers. We've got for me personally, I've backed 3 of their Kickstarters, and I'm waiting for those to fulfill. I'm in Way of the Fighter, Super Dungeon Legend, that's the big one that everybody's upset about. And then there's also Relic Knight 2nd Edition. And all 3 of the projects have been delayed. There's also, the fulfillment of stuff like Guts that was supposed to happen around Gen Con. So there's just a lot going on, and a lot of people are really upset with the company. And it's a shame, like I said. I want to defend them, but I don't think it would be really kind of intellectually dishonest for me to say, oh yeah, no, everything's fine, but it's not. You know, we were supposed to get. I was kind of joking today that we were supposed to get SDE Legends back in December 2016. So that's how delayed that one particular Kickstarter is. That is the latest, their latest one. But I mean, we thought that, a lot of people thought that, you know, after the Relic Knights won, that things would get much better, right? That they kind of learned their lesson from Relic Knights 1, and we thought that they did, because if you look at Forgotten King, if you look at some of the other Kickstarters that they did after that, they were getting better and better. And Forgotten King was like their best one yet. I was so stoked at that, because I backed that in a big way, and you know, it paid off. They delivered, and we got everything that that we were expecting and more. So you know, Forgotten King was a really good experience, but you know, these new ones have got a lot of people kind of scratching their heads. You know, and I know I know a fair bit about Ninja Division, and I know like the main ninjas. I wouldn't say fairly well, but well enough. And I know that these are guys with very high integrity. These are guys that are, you know, doing, at least appear to be doing their best at trying to please their customers. But you know, they also, it's a difficult spot for them to be in, because Kickstarter is much a dual-edged sword for them as it is for us, right? Like, for them, it's great in that, you know, they get their crowdfunding, they get to launch these projects and develop products under the safety net of public funding. But the huge drawback there is that you're now under the constant scrutiny of all of your backers, and not just all of your backers, but you know, also like the rest of the gaming community. You know, everybody's kind of watching, the community at large kind of watches companies that are doing Kickstarters and saying, you know, and they because we're trying to protect the customer base, we're trying to protect our own communities from companies like this one that did this. You know, I was reading last night after I got off the stream. I was reading about what all the stuff that I'll just, you know, I don't care. I'll say Artistic Justice Games, what they've been doing, and you know how they tried to funnel money from one Kickstarter to fund, you know, to help fulfill a second one. Oh, I'm totally out of gloves. Oh, this will be interesting. I'm gonna wear one glove. You know, so I was reading about that all last night, and it was just making me so mad, because a game like this game has a lot of promise. Like, there's a lot of interesting things that could be happening with this game. There were people that backed it, and if they had really just sort of put their best foot forward, set more realistic goals, set a more realistic timeline, would they be in the mess that they're in now? Probably not. You know? But instead, you know, nowadays we have this game that's dead in the water, that is an incredible IP that you know, fans like us are just begging to see in the miniatures game. I mean, if you want proof of that, watch last night's stream. We talked for like 3 hours about what we would want to see with this type of property. I mean, there's a huge untapped market here. This is a genre that miniature gaming really hasn't seen yet. You know, you've seen the zombie stuff, you've seen fantasy, sci-fi, you've seen horror, even you've seen steampunk, but have we really seen much from the martial arts world and the action hero world. Not really. So it's a shame. And from what I can see of this game, it looks like a pretty good game. I watched some of the play demos that the designers put together on YouTube. And then you just read their comments, like their responses to public inquiry about, the status of the company and how they're dealing with their Kickstarter issues. And it's just so disingenuous. It's like, it's almost like a slap in the face, when you hear that sort of, the company bylines, like, yes, we're doing everything possible. We promise it'll be like this. And it won't be. You just know that it's not going to be. It's just really upsetting. Brandon only has his face showing. And he's sort of coughing too, so it's like sort of clearing his throat here. Go a little further back out. Get some of that going. So yeah, I saw the Ninja Division thing this morning. It looked kind of cool. My friends shared it with me. And I was like, you know what? I just want my damn Way of the Fighter. I'm just going to wait. I don't want to back. Like, I didn't want to. That's one of the reasons why I didn't back Rail Raiders either. Which they actually, looks like they're at least partially have delivered on, was Rail Raiders. But one thing you get from Ninja Division, one of the things that I can see is that when they design stuff, when they go through and they do the 3D renders for miniatures, that doesn't seem to take them much time at all. It's really more of the rules and the manufacturing and all that stuff that ends up taking a lot longer. I need a dark brown. Hurts smaller companies too, trying to bust out into the community. I'll pick up the minis at a later date for Starfinder. I understand, like, from a business standpoint, you have these open projects and then suddenly an opportunity like Paizo opens up for you. And you're like, you know what, let's take a shot. Let's design some minis for them. There should be some quick money for us, right? I don't, I can sympathize with where they're coming from. It just, and I'm pretty sure that they can sympathize with our situation as customers too. That it's like, hey, dude, that just looks really, really shady. You know what I mean? That just looks really, really kind of crap that, you're going to work on this when you owe us all this. Now, in their defense, Way of the Fighter was supposed to deliver in August. But I thought Way of the Fighter would be out earlier than that. I think the original target was different. So yeah, Way of the Fighter is different. They changed the Relic Knights. Relic Knights was supposed to be around, I think, late summer, they said. And now if you look at the thing, it says February 2018. That's a pretty significant delay. And then you have Super Dungeon Legends. Like I said, it was supposed to deliver December 2016. And, we're not that far off from December 2017. So it's disappointing for me because, again, I had the best experience with Forgotten King. Like, Forgotten King was one of my all-time most positive Kickstarter experiences for a miniatures game. The other positive experiences I've had with miniatures has all been like smaller indie guys, Atomico Press, Impact Miniatures. Like, the smaller guys have done a good job, but we thought that maybe Ninja Division was beyond this hump now, and it's just not looking that way, and that's what has us so concerned. Billy Blanks is awesome. I can't tell if this is, we're not sure if this is Billy Blanks or if this is Michael Jai White. I don't know. I mean, Michael Jai White kind of had a high top fade for a lot of his career, but I think Michael Jai White was bald for at least a couple of his roles. I just don't remember. The other thing that's kind of getting me here is Cynthia Rothrock. I'm not sure, like, I don't remember what her outfit, I Googled her outfits and stuff, but I don't know. I'm like drawing a blank on her. I don't know what the main base coats are here for Cynthia Rothrock. She's got a lot of reds and blues, even pinks. If you Google Cynthia Rothrock and look at the images of her from the 90s, like all her movie promo stuff is a little sad. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm usually the guy that's like, hey, you know, if they want to take a picture of a girl in a skimpy dress, or you know, they want to show off a little sex, then I'm totally cool with that, right? I'm not going to apologize for being a straight man. That's usually my line. But I looked at Cynthia Rothrock. So if you look at her Google images, and you have to understand that Cynthia Rothrock is a 100% legit martial artist. Like she's as legit as anybody else in martial arts. And you know what, they in the 90s when they were really promoting her career, there was at least some of it was kind of around, hey, let's make her a little, you know, let's try to make her a little punch it up a little bit, make her a little sexy. Again, I'm not opposed to it, but I can't help but wonder if whether or not, you know, this was a decision she made, or if it was maybe her agents, or maybe it was the movie studios that wanted to kind of play up that angle. Now, the interesting thing there is, like, we look at Cynthia Rothrock, and I'm just going to be as offensive as possible. Okay, like I look at Cynthia Rothrock, and I see more of an athlete type character, type of person, right? I don't really see, you know, someone that's trying to be sultry or sexy or anything like that. Maybe I'm wrong though, because I don't know her, right? Maybe Cynthia Rothrock really is all about it, right? And she's like, no, I'm a kick-ass, you know, martial artist, but you know, when I want to do my movies, I want to be a sexy martial artist. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong whatsoever with that. I just, from me looking at it, it's like, are you? I don't know. I don't know if that's something she wanted. And why should I really care? Ultimately, right? Again, these were choices that were made, and she shouldn't be ashamed of it. She's you know, Cynthia Rothrock is a fairly attractive actress, and I'm a big fan of hers. I liked her movies in the 90s, but I don't know. It just struck me odd because again, she's a really capable martial artist and just awesome. Like she's just awesome on screen. So I don't know. I can't help but wonder, like, how much of that was her and how much of that was the studios going, oh, well, you know, it's not very often we have a somewhat attractive or a fairly attractive martial artist, right? And they wanted to play up that. And what I really like about her, though, is in my mind, she really legitimized a lot of at least Western female martial artists. You know, if you watch the old kung fu movies and that kind of thing, they always had really strong, really talented female performers, and they would fight just as well as the men. And they, you know, they mixed it up with the dudes, and that was freaking awesome, right? Today, people would freak out over it, like, it's so progressive. Oh my god, no, it's not, man. Like, go back and watch these kung fu movies from the 70s, man. They were way ahead of their time. If you're flipping out about stupid like Ray and other kinds of shit like that, like dude, like go back and watch Master of the Flying Guillotine. Like go back and watch any of these movies. Because the girls mixed it up, man, and they gave no Fs. Like they did what they was supposed to do. But whatever, right? What do we know? We just paint these things. That's all. That's all we do. But yeah, Cynthia Rothrock, big fan of hers. And I hope, my sincere hope, when I was looking at those pictures, was like, my hope is that she went to the photographers and the studio execs and all that stuff and said, hey, I want to be not just powerful in a kung fu martial arts sense, powerful. I want to be like sexually powerful. That would be awesome, right? If you look at like Gillian Anderson, if you look at Scully from X-Files, when she was done with X-Files, she started to kind of get into that mode, and she's like, no, I want to do more of this kind of risque type stuff, because that's me. That's like where I want to branch out, and I thought that was awesome at the time. Hey, what's up, Blade Wolf? Yeah, I thought that was really cool at the time, and I was like, I'm not really used to Scully trying to be like this in the kinky dark leather outfits and all this stuff, but I'm cool. I mean, this is what she wants to do. She's made it very clear that, hey, this is where she really wants to take herself and her art and her career. And I'm like, dude, more power to you. Do it, right? I hope that's true of Cynthia Rothrock too. I hope that that's what she really wanted to do. I would feel pretty kind of bad if she came out and was like, back then, it was hard for a woman to break into the martial arts side. It was there were so many really, really talented guys, and there still are, but I had to differentiate myself, and the producers were telling me, hey, in Asian cultures, blonde women are just basically worshipped. So maybe we need to capitalize on that. I'm just making up all this. I'm making it all up. Hey, what's up? What's up, Darth Toylan? Welcome to the feed. But for real, though, I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm really like super, super pro, a woman's body she can do whatever she wants with it. She can be as nasty as she wants to be. She can be as, flirtatious or risque as she wants to be. But the bottom line for me is like, I want that to be that's her choice and her choice alone. Hello, Peep Peep. So we're just trying to get all these Crimson Tide things done. Got my air pressure up way too high on this color. It's okay though. I'm just gonna make it work. I'm gonna have to build this color very slowly. All right. I guess this character, Michael Jai White or whatever, or Billy Blanks or whatever he is in this game, is more of like a capoeira style fighter. It's kind of dope, I think. All right. Mr. Brissely. See how thin this is? I mean, it's going on like an ink. I want it super thin like that, so I can just build up the color as slow as I like. And when you build up your color like this, the transitions are just great. They're great. Give Brandon another coat here. So you could just slowly build up this color. But I need him to look more like a cop, so. Cynthia Rothrock can keep the darker. This is usually how you paint your Batman models. Yeah, actually, yeah. I do a lot of, I color block using airbrush, then I'll dry brush, and then basically use inks and glazes to do the rest of it. Boom, ba ba da ba ba da. So I'm going to try to get some gaming in tomorrow, and I want to play a game of Guild Ball and a game of Batman. That's my ideal. Hoping I can do that. If I get in the game of Guild Ball early enough, and we wrap up, finish that, then by the time it's like 7 o'clock, Nelson's showing up, then we can play some Batman. Sorry, you gotta listen to my Fist of Fury music, aka the Big Boss. You guys should watch that. Was different from me, but kind of interested in leaning this style. Yeah, this is, or learning. Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's a quick way to do miniatures. It does require a little bit of muscle memory with the airbrush, but it's in my experience anyway, very easy to get used to something. What does it mean to color block? Well, essentially, I'm just taking the major colors of the model and just kind of blocking them in. In other words, so you can see the skin area there and then the pants area there. That's about it for Bruce Lee. That's a color block right there. The rest of it, I'm gonna do a little bronze skin highlight here because that's like way too golden. But yeah, that's what I do is I color block. I do all the major colors of the model, then come in and you do a dry brush. You do a really light dry brush with the sole intention of getting an edge highlight in. That's all you're really trying to do. You end up dry brushing almost the whole model, but ultimately all you're really trying to do is just get a nice sharp edge such that when you do your glazing and your shading and your washing and all that stuff, you have an edge that's going to be able to stand up to those techniques, and you're not going to lose so much of your, all that pre-work that you just did. See how thin that skin tone is coming in. Like you can't even tell I put anything down. I'll let that dry for a minute. Now I'll even just do a quick once over here on Michael Jai White. Wah, 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 wah. Man, I got totally stuck in my head. You gotta watch, again, you gotta watch the beginning of Fist of Fury, because then that's the music. Wow, 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 wow. You guys should be leaving this stream in droves. Like, okay, whatever. I was watching Dizzy's stream from earlier, and it was she like won the internet for me today. Like it was the funniest thing she did. She basically she was unboxing one of her Kickstarters that had come in, so just unboxing a bunch of miniatures, and didn't really end up doing a whole lot during that feed, mainly just kind of going over the components and that kind of stuff, doing a little bit of cleanup, mostly kind of just chatting with her viewers, which is super fun. And that's part of the reason why, Nelson was like, hey, can you stream tonight? And I'm like, yeah, sure, totally do it. Just because, it's not just the technical aspect of watching me paint, it's just all this other like banter that happens too. But anyway, so she was doing that, going through her miniatures and that kind of thing. And then she's like, okay, this wasn't her exact words, but she was like, there are guys that would get off on anything on the internet. I'm sure like somebody's getting off on me touching these miniatures. She's like, which one of you guys is basically fapping to me touching miniatures, to my hands touching miniatures? And I lost it, because I'm like, I bet someone is fapping to her while touching miniatures. That's amazing. I was like, wow, that's super funny. And I think I'm gonna tell her that she needs to accuse every stream. She needs to accuse some of her viewers to fapping to it. That's awesome. Anyway, I mean, she's not lying. Somebody, her point was that like there are guys that just find almost anything you can sexualize and find, what's the word I'm looking for? Erotic? Yeah. You can find almost anything erotic. Check out Michael Jai White. Bom, 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 bom. Should he have a yellow tank top so he could be Roadblock from G.I. Joe? What do you think? Like an orange tank top? But yeah, man, I love that intro for the Big Boss. I love the music for the Big Boss, and I love that opening music for Enter the Dragon. That just makes my life complete every time I watch that. Every time I watch that intro, where you got Bruce Lee on the Junker, and you got John Saxon coming in and all this. Just, man, I love it. Anyway. What color should Cynthia Rothrock's jacket be? Should be a lighter blue. And that would be super 80s, right? Because I have to do the lighter blue on Brandon here anyway. super funny. I really like that that there's another person that's streaming painting, like longer painting sessions, and just BS's with her her viewers. Because now I kind of get the kind of experience you guys get, like just watching someone else do something. And you know, sometimes it's like sometimes I'm doing something else, like you know, I might be running errands or watching something else, and then you know, trying a little bit to pay attention to what's going on in the stream, and it's super funny to me. Okay, let's get a little blue going here. That's the wrong, I'm shaking up the wrong blue. I need to try this heavy blue. Let's try that. Welcome to the feed. Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Tonight's topic is these Kung Fu miniatures that I'm going to use for Fistful of Kung Fu, probably, and Dragon Tides. Can anyone tell me who Train Wong is? Like what? I can't figure out what his, you know, what martial artist they're alluding to. I can't figure that out. Let me show you guys the miniature, and maybe you guys can help me. Right, nice. That's a nice cop blue, right? And then let's do Cynthia Rothrock's jacket. That blue color as well. Let me show you guys the miniature. Oops. Got a little blue there on this shirt. It's okay. Whoa, we lost some viewers. Okay. Here's the dude. Like, who is that? Can someone tell me? I don't know who that guy is. I mean, it doesn't ultimately matter to me because I just love that figure so much that I'm still gonna use it. But just wondering. But yeah, let's get a little bit of like an orange down on a Roadblocks shirt here. Yeah. People just turning it. Whoa. We just lost a bunch of viewers. Wonder what happened. Hope I wasn't too offensive. But I don't know. Maybe. Okay, I gotta stop. I gotta stop doing the stupid Big Boss music. Let's do this. Then I'm gonna do one more. Well, I gotta base coat Brandon's basing there, and then we're done with the color blocking. Ew, still too much green in the airbrush. That did not work the way I was hoping that would work. It's okay. It's actually kind of a cool, super dingy color. It's actually kind of a cool color. Okay, let's get rid of that. Two more colors to go, and then we'll actually get to some painting here. So what else is going on? I thought that I had I saw a package from Steamforged Games today, and I thought that my Blacksmith's pre-order had showed up. So I was all amped to crack it open. I thought, hey, maybe tonight it would be more of an emergency. Hey, let's paint some blacksmiths so I can play them tomorrow. But no, it was really just the Escalation League kit, which is cool too. I mean, if you guys play Guild Ball and you want to come pick up your lucky miniature, I've got some. And get some other goodies for playing in an Escalation League. And we're going to play kind of a way more casual thing than like a formalized Escalation League. We're just going to play here locally with friends, and they're going to get some cool swag. And hopefully we get, we draw a few more people into the game. There we go. That's all I'm going to do there. If you guys are commenting, I haven't seen a comment in a while, so I don't know if maybe the thing is busted or whatever, but I don't see anything. All right, last color. We're just going to do a little somber gray here for Brandon. Well, maybe we should do like a brick red for Brandon's basing there. No, let's do somber gray. That way we can do like a flagstone type pattern on it. Welcome back. Okay. And then we'll start getting some of these guys done. I think I started a little too late in the evening, so I don't know that we're going to be able to finish them, but let's see how far we can get. Not willing to just totally give up yet. All right. But yeah, Lucky looks cool. He does. Cool miniature. This is a pretty somber gray here. Ah, my glove stuck to the paper. Okay, that's good enough. Let's rock. I want to get at least faces and skin done tonight. And the good part about getting faces and skin done is that you will, based on this method, you're so close to being done that you might as well finish. So let's see how far we get, right? a big old paint booger trapped in there. There we go. Got it all loose now. Except my hand is totally caked in paint. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this all loaded up. Turn off that bad boy. And let's get to it. All right, so I'm going to do an ever so slight dry brush, really, really slight. Go like this, go like this. And you don't even, this is so light that you don't even have to use a white for this. You can use an azure or like a pale gray or that kind of thing, and it's fine. We're going to use a white anyway, though, because I just wanted to contradict myself. Right? So again, the purpose of this white is to really just leave an edge highlight. See, so when you're wiping off the paint solids from the brush, like really get a lot of it off. You shouldn't. That's still way too much on there. When they say get 90% of the paint off there, I'm like, get like 99% of the paint off there. Because a dry brush done right should really only be an edge highlight. And really, really soft. And you should be able to run it everywhere without worrying about, you know, leaving crazy streaking and that kind of stuff. I still see people that paint, that dry brush, and they leave crazy like a streaky powdery finish when they're done, and I'm like, you're just doing too much, or you've got too much on the brush, because this is not, dry brushing does not have to be this crazy dramatic technique. You do enough of it for it to pass, and then you do the rest of your techniques, and it should work pretty well, right? It's like I'm doing it right now on this diamond plate that Cynthia Rothrock is standing on. And it really shouldn't look all that much different than where it was. It's just, you'll just see some of the edges starting to pick up some light there. That's about it. Oops. I'm just going to do a little dry brushing here too. And then Bruce. This is a really cool base. Okay. Finally, this guy. And this dry brush should actually take you a bit above where you want the final tone of the model to be. So this is everything, when you're done dry brushing, everything that you dry brushed should be a tone lighter than what you expected, because you're going to tone it way back down and bring some of the color saturation back. Okay. Now, for good measure. That way we've done it all. Okay, cool. All right, so now let's actually start getting to painting the faces. And moving along here, let me get a little, I need like a little sip of when I got the munchies too, it's bad. I need to munch on something. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some gaming in tomorrow because, you know, this weekend's going to be a busy weekend for me. I got to prepare for my kid's birthday party and all that kind of stuff. So we're not going to be doing much gaming. Although I'm going to see if Dizzy's around, like late night, one of those nights, so we can stream a game of something. I think we may try Ghost Stories because she was like, "Yeah, I'm up for a challenge." I'm like, "Well, that's a tough one. We can play that." That it's good you're getting the games in. You can probably run Lucky with your Masons. Yes, you can. I just don't know whose spot he's going to take. You know what I mean? Because like he's good, kind of an all-rounder, but my Masons team is so tight with regards to how I run it. I don't know who I'd give up for a game. You know, probably Harmony. Probably drop Harmony for a game and put him in there. Whoa, whoa, hate that. Mm-hmm. Get that other dude back too, so we can. So I can fix his eyes. Bruce Lee's looking pretty awesome already. Doesn't take much. Don't think, feel. It's like a finger pointing up to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you'll miss all that heavenly glory. Trying to like work on my Bruce Lee impersonation. Love Bruce Lee. Balls don't hit back. You know, when I was a kid, there were two jobs I wanted. One of two jobs. I wanted to do one of two things when I grew up. I wanted to either be the guy who does the English dub for Kung Fu movies, or I wanted to be the guy that wore the rubber Godzilla suit. To me, those were the two best jobs in the world growing up. And I really wanted one of those jobs. And unfortunately, you know, as life would have it, uh, kung fu movies just weren't remaining as popular as they were when I was a little kid. And Godzilla, unfortunately, was kind of taken over by the CGI world. It did make me happy that Shin Godzilla used more practical effects, but you know, even in that case, my dream of wearing the Godzilla suit would never be a thing. And then like as recently as like a month ago, the Japanese actor who wore the Godzilla suit, he died. He was like 90 years old or whatever. And he was talking about how horrific wearing the Godzilla suit was. You know, it could weigh up to 200 pounds, and you know, a lot of times they were using like bricks and I don't know, bricks and seaweed and angry children or whatever to fill the costume. It just didn't sound like a good time, you know. I wanted to be a Sentai Ranger or Kamen Rider. See, that's a good career choice. that's what we need to. That needs to be a thing. Dude, who doesn't want to be Kamen Rider? I want to be Kamen Rider. Guy's awesome. That's a cool outfit too. I also wanted to live in Tron. I wanted to be a program that had a disc on my back that carried all my info and that I killed people with for entertainment. But it was like the Black Kamen Rider. Who is this foreigner? That's awesome. Oh man. I'm down for that. Your last hope. That's hilarious that you want to be Kamen Rider. They had a miniature that was essentially Kamen Rider for Anima Tactics. It's a pretty awesome mini, and I never picked them up, and I just kicked myself. I should have. I had almost the entire Anima Tactics line at one point, and I gave a whole bunch of it away. And now I'm like, man, I wish I had kept some of that. I do have. Actually, that's not really true. I do have a sizable Anima Tactics collection still. You know, even after all the giving away and that kind of stuff. And that's a game that I would love to just revamp, like clean up the rules a little bit, modernize it, and then start playing it again. But you know, it's so heartbreaking to try to get in there and revive an old game. You know, getting people to play a dead game would have been sad. Oddly, I wanted the look of Kamen Rider to look like a stag beetle. It was weird. No, I don't see anything wrong with that. Stag beetles are also awesome. And Kamen Rider can look like a stag beetle, and I'd be down with that. Yeah, if you ever watch Guerrilla Miniatures games, Ash still does Anima Tactics battle reports, and they're my favorite battle reports of his, and which is saying a lot because I really like just about the entire content of his channel. He's just easily like the best. He's easily like the best miniature gaming YouTube channel I've seen. I think he blows mini wargaming out of the freaking water. I think and Beasts of War. I just think he is just so much. His content is just so much better than theirs, and you don't, you know, and he doesn't have all these stupid, you know, pay for stuff. I mean, you can support him on Patreon, which is great, but I just realized there's no female fighters in this. That's not true. There's the Cynthia Rothrock. There's one. There were supposed to be two. I was looking at the Kickstarter, and we had unlocked a second like 2 or 3 additional female fighters. Plus, they were gonna make a candy and cola, or a candy, like a Kunoichi candy for this game. That ain't gonna happen now. Like, that was part of the reason why I found the game, is because Soda Pop was like, oh yeah, we'll throw in a stretch goal for you guys, if you make it out there. And they put it out, hey, we're a stretch goal. And I saw this game and I was like, Bruce Lee miniature game in. So I jumped in and we made it to the goal, and I put it on my pre-order stuff, like I wanted a candy and cola. And then, I usually watch Ash. He's more personable. I like guys and stuff in gaming with the cooler. You don't feel like it's all dice and tactics. Yeah, Ash literally. Yeah, Ash is a gamer. Ash, I feel like with mini wargaming and with Beasts of War, it's to me, I get the impression that their business is first and the actual game is second. And with Ash, it's like, no, he's here to play this game and enjoy this game, and he's going to be knowledgeable about the game, and he's going to play it reasonably well, and he's going to tell us what he thought. And as a more like a fellow consumer, that's why I think he is head and shoulders better than all these other like professional miniature game YouTube channels that are out there. Yeah, Ash can sell a game based on, yeah. I mean, you watch Ash playing Anima Tactics, like you're like, dude, this guy, if Anima Studios hadn't screwed themselves over so hard on this game, Ash could have single-handedly started a renaissance within Anima Tactics, because people are like, what is this game? It's super cool. The miniatures look awesome. The gameplay looks fun based on like watching Ash play it. Like, I'm a huge fan of Ash. Ash basically did what I was always wanted to do with this channel, which is cover a whole lot of independent miniature games, have fun playing them, tell the audience what I feel, how I feel about the games. Beasts of War informs you about the game and its updates. But yeah, I gotta be honest, like Beasts of War is cool. Their promos are awesome. A lot of their coverage of stuff is cool. But the people, their hosts just drive me up the wall. I just can't. I'm sorry. Like, I want so badly to like Beasts of War, and I watched lots of Beasts of War, but like one of them I can't even understand. Like I think it's English, but I cannot understand him to save my life. The other ones are like, they just kind of like, I got so excited. I got so these miniatures. I got so excited, and they start talk. They open up their mouth, and it's like they do not know what the hell they're talking about, right? It's like they might have seen this game that they're supposed to cover 15 minutes before they turn the camera on, and it shows. In some cases, it shows, and I can't. So when I can watch Beasts of War for a certain coverage, and then when they start talking about stuff and it's clear that they don't know what they're talking about, then I have to turn it off. Um, mini wargaming to me is kind of worse, because they just don't seem like genuinely interested in anything other than promoting their business. And I understand that you're a business and you need to be profitable, but like the stupid bits that they used to do, and um, hey, I'm gonna promote you by doing this for me and all this other stuff, and yeah, you would get into tactics and stuff, but there's that. I did not click with them at all, and um, the games that they cover are games I'm not interested in. They were only covering the bigger games for the longest time, and I was like, I literally could not care any less about 40K, guys. Can we talk about something else? And I just couldn't get into it. They did not have me. But Ash he's my favorite. He's my favorite YouTube miniature wargaming channel, and he's the gold standard of what, in my opinion, of what a miniatures gaming channel should look like and how it should conduct itself. Cynthia Rothrock's eyes are too close together. They're like too close together. We'll make it work. They only do Warhammer nowadays. Yeah, because they're only focused on the most views. They're only focused on what's the most popular. And they're not focused in advancing the hobby. They're not focused on moving the hobby any further forward than they can profit from. They did they tried to do their what was that stupid that they had their miniature game Dark Potential, or I think it was called that. That was easily the dumbest name I'd ever seen for a miniatures game, and the miniatures were just they just made me, I laughed until I cried. Like that was, they were trying to make that a serious game, and the miniatures just looked bad. The mechanics seemed just like kind of hackneyed 40K, and I just could not get over like how, I don't know, just how not interesting that game was. And they wanted they were trying to charge some outrageous pricing for their minute. They were trying to charge like out of the gate. They were trying to charge like GW style pricing when it was quite clear that their sculpting wasn't up to par, that the game design itself was not anything special. I don't know. Am I being too much of a hater? You guys can tell me. But it just, what am I doing? There you go. Be a hater because I'm not even in frame. I just don't know, man. Like what? After that whole thing, Dark Potential, and let me wear your T-shirt, and let me try to do cool hipster things, and blue table painting, and they had this stupid clique of just, here are the famous YouTube guys, and you had all these like, oh my gosh, the cringe was off the charts. They had all these guys that were famous amongst the miniature gamers, and they only played 40K. There were like 10 people. There were like 10 celebrities. Oh, here from this channel. And all their channels were exactly the same because they all talked about the same four things. And then they would do these bits, these Valhalla bits. Yeah, can't handle blue table painting. I'm sorry. If you guys like these channels, I'm going to apologize in advance. Like what you want to like. It's cool. You can disagree with me. Whatever. That's fine. But and you can even say like, hey, you're just jealous because they had thousands of subscribers and you got like 6 people watching you. You can do that if you want. But I think hopefully the people here do know that like I'm not about that. But anyway, the cringiest thing I'd ever seen, was those little bits that they did from Valhalla, where they had the one scene where they had the guys with all their shirts off, and they were like yelling and then running across like some grass field and just yelling, and that was the video. Like I nearly threw my shoe at my computer. Like, this is supposed to be, you know, the elite of the elite miniature wargaming YouTube crowd, right? These are supposed to be the people that help, form some sort of outreach with miniature gaming and the rest of, the digital video world, right? These guys, the guys that did videos on how to scream with your shirt off, the guys that did videos of how to eat a burrito, how to drink a lot of soda. They did these. They just did all these stupid bits that were more an attempt to kind of make them to kind of capitalize on popularity than to to cover gaming. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I do stupid shit on this channel too, every now and then. Like every now and then, I'm like, I don't care. Let's just put the camera on and do whatever the hell I want to do. That's fine. But you could watch. There was one point where it was almost like months on end before you saw anything that was related to gaming. And when it was related to gaming, it was all like known softball shit, right? It was all known, oh, then 40K, here's another development in the 40K universe. Like, who gives a shit? You could watch that on 7 other channels. And you can get the same content and the same opinion on 7 other channels from people who have played 7 games in their entire 15-year, career. Like, do these people get on my nerves? Yes, they do. They get on my nerves. I just don't understand. Yeah, even when they knew 40K was terrible for 2 editions, right? It drove me insane. Like, why at that point you started to see, it was when you started to see some of the independent guys just leave YouTube because it's like, we give up. It was this if this is what the the elite of our community is, a bunch of non-actual gamers that are just trying to be popular within a specific niche, like, count me out. Like, let's get out of here. What are we doing? I remember one of my favorite guys. So he did a parody of Blue Table Painting. It was called Blue Toilet Training. It's my favorite. Great guy. He had I guess he had some severe health issues and he ended up dying. It was sad. It's like one of my favorite YouTubers. But he was around during this whole thing when there was this sort of elitism that had gotten into the YouTube wargaming community, and and I was one of those little guys that was a voice of dissent, and so I was hated, and I'm still, by some of these guys, I'm still sort of blacklisted by them because I called them out. I was like, these guys are full of shit. These guys are not about. They're not about promoting or growing other areas of the hobby. They're only interested in insofar as they can turn profit and gain views and gain popularity. So they're going to game this YouTube system for views. We used to have guys that would tell us how to game the system, like, tag Space Marine in your video description, even if you don't have Space Marines in your video. Just do it because it's a more popular tag, and you're going to show up on more searches if you use the right keywords and all this other kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, but the problem is that's all there was for these guys. That's all there was. That's all they were interested in showing you or doing, was gaming the system for views and for clicks and for popularity. Now, don't get me wrong, Beast of War isn't that. They're not like that. Beast of War is they are legitimately trying to be a professional miniature gaming sort of media source. But you know, if you think like if you want to hear more about this like era in YouTube, you can talk to other guys that were around. Talk to Viv. Viv was one of the most easily one of the most coolest guys during the whole thing. Almost knocked my wet palette over, because he had the kind of views and the presence that these other, we'll just call them the Soch YouTubers had. Like he had their pull. He had, you know, he has the kind of viewership and the kind of following of like a Beasts of War and the other big guys. But he was down with the the indie guys and the smaller guys. Like we still, like Viv is still like one of ours, right? He's still legit because, you know, everything Viv did was on the level, and he gained popularity because he's just damn entertaining to watch. You know, it doesn't really matter. The joke is with Viv, it's like it doesn't really matter what he does. If he took a break from gaming for a while and told his viewership that, like, look, I'm gonna do some beer brewing for a while, and if you don't like it, you can fuck off. You know, I'm still gonna do it. And we're like, no, Viv, we're cool, man. If that's what you really want to do, then do it. And Viv was totally down. And he comes back and he's like, oh, I'm gonna make this Knights of Dice thing. I'm just gonna make some MDF buildings and make a little business out of that. And he's just wildly successful on his hobby. He just like, okay, and everyone's like, oh, Viv's gonna make a bunch of buildings, and we checked out his buildings and they were freaking phenomenal. And if you look at, like, go ahead and look now. Look at Knights of Dice, like their MDF kits are insanely good. He sent me some, you know, back when he started. I placed a big order, and it's to date still the best terrain I own. But anyways, so you had guys like Viv that were like, they're just big dudes in the community, and you know, and everybody, even the Sochi guys, had to be down with Viv because he just had too much pull. But yeah, it was really kind of weird. There were times when, or there were some opportunities that, oh, the other person you can watch is um, you know, Canvas, but Canvas didn't upload anymore. But Canvas used to talk about stuff like this, about just weird stuff that would happen in the YouTube community, and like he would end up quitting his channel or even getting, you know, he caught a lot of flack for speaking out. And you know, Canvas is hilarious. He's kind of a troll. He's definitely like a trolley type character. He shows up here on the feeds and tries to troll me, and I try to troll him. But you know, there's another guy totally on the level, says what he needs to, says what he means, and you know, even if you don't like it, you still have to respect him for always being, you know, kind of true to himself and what he represents. So you had guys like him, who was, you know, he's one of the older guys in the community. He's been around for a while, but he's also like, he could have been one of the bigger channels, but he, you know, he would also call bullshit on the social YouTube guys. So you had him, you had there's a lot of other like channels that were just legit but smaller. Oh, Solvent Abuse UK, aka Dreadlun, also one of those guys, like smaller channel, but really, really super diehard following. Like so many people love Dread that you know, he can put out a video and he's got like a really thick British accent. Sometimes I can't follow him, but the guy's freaking hardcore. Like he is he's like by far one of the most legit guys in the hobby. Just incredible builder, incredible modeler. He'd do dioramas, he'd do custom kits, conversions. He's just incredible. He's another one of my favorite guys on YouTube. And every now and then he would just speak up and say, look, I got some shit to share. And this isn't going to be a popular opinion. If you don't like it, you don't like it, right? So we had him, and he's still around. He still makes videos, and he stays in regular contact with me. Like we're actually fairly good friends because I don't know, he's just the most legit dude out there. But yeah, it's kind of weird that all this like stupid like drama existed on YouTube, and there were other people that that would go on to be much bigger names that when it came down to it, they weren't. You could argue that they didn't really have the chops to be where they are, but they were liked by specific media outlets, and that was enough. It's a little petty for me to sit back here in my tiny little island here with my tiny little subscribership and go, oh yeah, these guys were shit, they weren't very good. You know what I mean? I understand that it's not. There's a maybe a hint of bitterness or whatever, based on where I'm at. But it's not. I would say that wanting thousands of subscribers really wasn't the reason for my disdain. Like I said, if you looked at Viv and his subscriber base, it's very large, and we love him to no end. And then you got guys like Warboss Tay, also has a fairly, at least at the time, had a fairly big subscriber base. You have the Painting Clinic, huge subscriber base for miniature gaming. Not huge for YouTube because miniature gaming is such a small, tiny little corner back here. But for miniature gaming, like Tony's subs would rival that of Mini Wargaming, would rival that of Beast of War, and he's one guy. So, whoa. So yeah, that's I don't know. I'm glad all of those days are over. I mean, for the most part, all the people that were trying to capitalize off YouTube fame quickly realized that the platform itself um, just wasn't growing the way it used to grow. And then you had adpocalypse and all this stuff. So if you were making money off ads, and your channel fell victim to whatever programmed AI YouTube put in there to try to police and sanitize the site, well, you were SOL. That happened to a few of my content creator friends too. Like they kind of got boned by the adpocalypse. So I don't know. Let's see. Geez, I want their stuff for Batman or even for my friend's stuff for Infinity. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Knights of Dice stuff is absolutely gorgeous. If you watched my the last Batman game I streamed, that's all Knights of Dice terrain. A lot of people are coming out of the woodwork because they have easier ways of getting a GoPro and a decent mic. Yeah, well, the thing about the YouTube miniature gaming world now is that it's back. We didn't think it would happen, but it's like back in the control of the hobbyists, right? There's not a whole lot of that Sochi shit happening anymore. There's not a whole lot of that crap going on anymore. Now it's just like if you're just a legit person that likes to paint or play games or whatever, like, and you got a YouTube channel, cool. Subscriberships, the subscriber bases aren't very big. outside of the big 2 or 3 channels. But you know, those guys, I would say the guys that have 700 subscribers and an active channel actually have more. Those guys outpace me in views and likes and everything, because they have a more active, like they don't have a bunch of like dead accounts sub to them. That's the one thing, you know, I really have a very, very small YouTube following when it comes down to it. Like I know you guys come and watch the live stream, and I'm super, super grateful for that. But it's not a big number. You know, it's not there's not a lot of you guys doing that. You know, it's I think some of the bigger, if I get above 8 viewers, that's like a big deal for this channel. And based on my you know, my subscriber number of like close to 2,000 subscribers, it should be a lot bigger than that, especially considering how active this channel is, right? Not that I put out high quality stuff. I really don't put out high quality content per se, but oh shoot. But yeah, it should still be bigger based on, like, if that number was actually accurate, then I should actually have more active viewership, more active participation in my content, but I don't. Does it bother me? Not really. Doesn't really bother me. What my favorite thing about this little channel is that I don't have many followers, but they're pretty damn cool, like diehard followers, which is awesome. Let's see, long-time listener, second-time caller. Sir, you have an excellent channel. Hey, thanks, man. I'm a big fan of Atomico Press, man. You guys know, I really like that last Kung Fu set you put out. In fact, I'm going to be using it for Fistful of Kung Fu in addition to these models. Truth be told, yeah, it is. I think it, in a lot of ways, it is better to have a smaller following, but it's because, especially when you look at like a smaller following, means these are the people that have sort of forgiven me for the shit that I do, like on the regular. Like my smaller following knows, oh yeah, he's gonna slip out of frame a lot. He's gonna cuss a lot. He's gonna say shit that's not very politically correct a lot. You know what I mean? And that's so if I was like, oh man, I wish I had 30,000 subscribers or whatever, then I wouldn't be doing stuff like that. But you know, I want this channel to still be a more true reflection of me than just trying to go out and get a bunch of followers. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know, from the standpoint of, okay, I want to sell more commissions or I want to do that kind of thing, then yeah, it's not good to have a smaller YouTube presence. But I don't know. I mean, for me personally, and I was telling Dizzy this the other day, I'm like, I have the commission sort of I have the commission sphere exactly where I want it, right? I pick up projects, only projects that I like. I work for people that I like. I charge them what I think is fair and what is going to be beneficial to me and my family. And like, there's nothing to complain about that. I would get maybe 8. Oh, Tom, yeah, you're busy sculpting. Nice, man. Excited, always excited to see your stuff, Jose. It's gonna be awesome. You're real and not a facade like the cosplay world. Yeah, the cosplay world very much like that. You know, there are the cosplayers that are legit cosplayers, and then they're legit, I should say, legit personalities, and then you have the other people that are, that kind of play a role. I see value to both. You know what I mean? I see value. I can see why. If somebody was like, "Look, man, this is really it for me. This is all I can really do," and they're desperate, like they're just so hungry to for this to kind of work out for them, that they're going to play a role, or that they're going to, that they're going to play it kind of cautious, because they really do need, um, they do really need this to work. There are other people that just, their concern is more about, hey, I want to create, and I want to create on my own terms, and I want a following on my own terms. People, for me, I'm like, so I'm really, really kind of honored when people follow me. Um, and again, it's because I know that I put out a lot of shit, right? I know that I'm not the easiest person to follow on the internet. And I at some point I probably will say something to piss you off. But that's the beauty of it. Like I could say I probably said something to offend most of my regular viewership. And the cool thing about that is that they're still my regular viewership. You know what I mean? It's almost a testament to your guys' fortitude, your guys' mental and emotional fortitude, to say, you know what? He said that. I don't agree with it. It might have even bothered me a little bit, but I'm still gonna watch him paint. I'm still gonna um, I'm still gonna support the other things that I like about his channel. And then, maybe when he asks, hey, what can I be doing different with my channel? Maybe then I pipe up and say, hey, when you said, left-handed people suck, I'm left-handed, you son of a, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, that's what's cool. Like, people can appreciate that you're legit, and, love you or hate you, they know where you're at, and they can respect you for it. And the people that do follow you for understand that that's what they're getting into, that's what they can expect. And I think it's pretty cool. I think that's, I don't know, I wouldn't, for me, I wouldn't have it any other way. Let's see. I have friends that are killer cosplayers, but damn queens of that world. Damn the queens of that world. They will bury any others that touch that star even once. Agreed. One of the people I know, a great cosplayer, though she rather cosplay guys instead of female characters who show skin. She likes armor, though check the guys' cameras, they're looking for butt. They avoid her stuff and go for the scantily clad. Yeah, yeah. I mean, those are the guys that, they want clicks, they want views, and that's, logistically, that's how you do it. There are other people that are legitimate cosplayers that are really into the craft, and they build some really, really high quality stuff. But it's not sexy. It's not clickbaity. So they suffer a little bit because of that. Um, I've seen, it's kind of rare, but I have seen the cosplayers that can do both. That want to do a little sexy time thing or whatever because they like it, and then but they're also technically really sharp. Like they can build custom stuff and uh, really put together some really neat cosplays. So I get that. I also get that it's pretty cutthroat, especially these days. You know what I mean? There's so many attractive young women that are like, oh, I don't really know what to do with my life. I'm going to try to make some quick money doing some cosplay. Let me just put on a bikini and a Pikachu hat or something. Um, You have a good following, I think. On the other hand, can't say the same. It's almost like they're pulling teeth to even get likes, dude. Ah, man. I will tell you, I'm a huge fan of yours. You know that. You know I'm a big fan of Atomico Press. And I also think you have a good following. You have a good dedicated diehard following. But I would also add to that, and I agree, I think you should have a much bigger following than you currently have. And I'm really hoping that that changes. I really sincerely hope that you get the kind of following that your talent deserves, and that you know um, and that you are that I can tell that um, you already derive joy and satisfaction from what you do, and that's enough. That really is technically enough. But but it's not wrong to say that you should have a bigger following, and I definitely think that you should have a bigger following. Um, so yeah, I'm very grateful for my following. Very grateful. Um, do I wish it was bigger? Maybe a little bit bigger. We all kind of want. We would all kind of want a little bit more. It's almost like asking, you're happy with your job. Do you want to make more money? Of course. Of course you want to make more money. You want to be, you know, you want to be hungry enough to pursue more money at your work. And your employers want you to be hungry enough to try to constantly do better, so that not that they want to pay you more money, but they want to see improvements, and they want to see a competitive, growing environment. Sane employers, anyways. Some of you guys got some shitty employers. I know, but yeah. But like my employer, they accept that people are not going to be happy with their salaries, even though, compared to industry, we pay pretty well. Um, but it should be normal. That should be a normal thing, that um, that you want to make more money. At least that's my take on it. What you? Um, let's see. I just cosplay characters I like. Though all my cosplay are minor characters. Did I ever tell you guys, like, if I did cosplay, like if I was serious about doing cosplay, that I would only do foreign interpretations of popular characters? So I would only do, I would only do like Spanish Spider-Man or Japanese Spider-Man. I wouldn't do I wouldn't do the American original versions of these characters. I would do, what they've done, what sometimes what other countries done when they've taken liberties with licensing and put together these characters. Like, for example, we were talking about Spider-Man. So if I did Japanese Spider-Man, then I would be that giant-sized Spider-Man that like fires webs out at opponents and wrestles kaiju. You know what I mean? Or uh, if I was Mexican Superman, yeah, Japanese Spider-Man. You should look up the Japanese Spider-Man movie. It's amazing. I would do Mexican Superman, who has like a spangly gold rhinestone emblem, that has his cape is like blue on the inside and red on the outside, and the Superman logo is on it for some reason. Like I would only do that. That's if I did cosplay, I would specifically do foreign interpretive cosplay. And people would just think like, this guy just does like shitty versions of superheroes. I'm like, no, I'm actually doing a callback to the foreign interpretation of these heroes. And I think that would be cool. I love to see what other countries do with the superheroes, because they don't like it, they don't have access to the comic books, or they don't research it that much. They put together the character that they see and the one that they want to see. Yeah, yeah, Jose, check out Mexican. Well, there's what was Superheroes? I don't know how to say it, but there's like a disco song, Todos Amigos, Super Amigos. Like, you got to watch that. That's freaking awesome. It's like one of my favorite. I watch it constantly for some reason. It's like I even got my kids singing it because it's so freaking cool. And it's like the Super Friends, right? So it has Superman, Batman. There's a Wonder Woman dancing around, but they never really call her out. And then and then there's a Spider-Man whose costume is just way, way off. Like he's got like there's sometimes where he has like a gray outfit with like red webs. There's other times where he has a red costume with like white webs. Um, yeah, and Batman and Robin are on this team, but the Super Friends, the Mexican Super Friends, for at least this group, as far as they're concerned, isn't just DC characters. So it has, Batman, Superman, Robin, but then it has Thor and Spider-Man. And then it has a kung fu guy that you're like, well, what the hell? We don't even know who this guy is. How did he make the Super Friends? You know what I mean? And so, you watch that video and I watch a video, and everybody's like, it's funny because it's not the superheroes as we know them. But I watch that and I'm like, that is so freaking cool that it's another take on this character, on these characters, set in like this awesome like disco setting that I think somebody should pay homage to. You know what I mean? I think a group of dudes, particularly if they're Hispanic, like a group of dudes, like, and skinny, you got to be skinny for some reason, um, should get together and learn the routine of that song and perform that song. Like go to Comic-Con and bust out Todos Amigos, Super Amigos, like to bust that song out, and the reaction would be insane. Like, right, because it's a totally fresh take on things, and nobody would be expecting it. It'd be like, oh, they'd be sitting on the little the shuttle with you, going, what the hell? This guy's like his costume isn't even accurate. What the hell's going on? And then he gets off and he does that whole routine with his buddies, and you're like, holy shit! Why didn't somebody do that before? Which is, again, that's kind of where I'm at. Why doesn't someone do that? That's what I would do. I don't have the body to wear any of these suits. Like, if you want to see dad bod in these suits, then I would go. I'd go for it. But yeah, that's what I would want to do. Like if I was doing cosplay, I want to do foreign renditions of popular superheroes, and I would just specialize in that. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's pretty awesome. Oh man, these guys are coming along. They're looking pretty good. I just would love to know if this is Michael Jai White or if this is Billy Blanks. Cosplay is um, it's something that I follow. I just find it interesting. You know, it's true that there's one of my friends said, so cosplayers, the ones that you can basically have a relationship with if you support them high enough on Patreon. He's like, so they're basically just prostitutes, right? And I was like, that's a little harsh, but I could see his point that some of them really are just selling themselves to a point where it's just like, we don't care, we'll just do whatever, right? We just want to make a living. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, again, I think they have every right to make money, where as long as it's legal and as long as they're not hurting anybody, they have every right to make money in whatever fashion they choose. So I agree with that. But yeah, it just, to me, it's like, well, okay, they are kind of, in a way, some of them anyway, are sort of selling invest to their patrons. Like, I'll do a special chat with you once a month if you give me, $800 a year. And the thing is, there are people, mostly guys, that are willing to do that, that are willing to pay that. British Batman is wearing knight armor. Hell yeah. Cosplay deviants are prostitutes. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. But what you were talking about, like the elitism, I think you can find that in almost any community. Some communities, though, it's more cutthroat than others. One of the girls that works at Comic Quest, her name is Natasha. Really, really cool chick. She's like one of my favorite people there, and she does cosplay, and she also um, does like graphic arts and stuff like that. Really, really cool, talented chick. Um, and this last Comic Con, she put together a Harley Quinn cosplay that was just amazing, like off the charts good. And I was so happy for her. I was like so pumped on that because she did the Arkham Knight Harley, and she just pulled it off like effortlessly. It was like perfect. Um, and that was really cool to see, and just how happy she was. And I think she ended up in a couple of newspapers actually, because like her cosplay was freaking ridiculous. It was so good. Um, and she wasn't there for Batman Day last week because I guess she had classes or whatever. But yeah, I was like, I hit her up. I'm like, dude, that was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. Um, from locals, was to be able to put together something that cool. Not even, Harley Quinn is cool and all. I'm not that big into her, but yeah, it's cool when you see like your friends or whatever put together really, really special like cosplay and pull it off. My wife, what she does, like she used to do, she likes wearing costumes and stuff like that. And when I was pretty deep into going to conventions and promoting Malifaux and all that kind of stuff, she would go too, and she would wear these pretty awesome like steampunk outfits, um, and she had fun doing that. She was called a whore a whole bunch of times, which sucks. It's unfortunate, but she understands that's like part of the. Um, I don't know. It's like kind of part and parcel to putting yourself out there. Is that there's going to be dicks that just judge you, and not just for cosplay, but like I know Atomico Press knows this too. Like if he puts stuff out there, there's going to be some haters out there that are like, oh, what are you doing? People do that with my stuff too. When I put this kind of stuff on the internet or whatever, I get haters as well. It just kind of comes with the territory. But the key is like, yeah, there are dicks out there, but what I always advocate against and warn against is this idea that you turn on your own communities to try to police it, right? Yeah, these guys get out of hand. Yeah, they can end up scaring people and doing really, really shitty things to vulnerable people. I get that. But that doesn't give you the right to come after, all the good, well-intentioned people that make up your community as well, right? Like imagine if like Atomico was, he gets a batch of shit thrown at him on the internet for something that he made. And then he comes back. Like imagine if he were to come back and go, you know what? It's a stupid miniature gaming community and I hate all you guys and we need to legislate some shit to prevent people from saying bad things to me. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Like you don't no one owes you a good time on the internet. It's kind of what you accept for putting yourself on the internet is that, there's gonna be dicks. There are gonna be people, gonna be assholes that say horrible things to you and try to garner some sort of or elicit some emotional response from you. You just have to accept it. Like you have to accept it, and in some cases, like you can. In some cases, I think you can, even kind of draw some power from that, even a little inspiration from it. I have people that hate on this channel, that hate on stuff that I put out there, and instead of going after the miniature wargaming community, I use that to go, okay, well, this person didn't like it. Maybe they were just a dick, but maybe there was something that I did that kind of set them off. Maybe there's something that I could be doing differently to kind of improve the quality of my content. Not to please this asshole, but because because I should always be looking for things and ways to improve my channel and the content of my channel, right? And you got to just treat it that way. Let's see. I have a good hater following. They even prop blogs hating. I just laugh. That's good, man. I yeah. I don't know. I've had people just say stupid shit about me or whatever. And again, it's funny, but then I also go, well, hold on. Let's take a little stock here and see what else could I be doing to uh, to be consistently improving what's going on here. Oh man, I Brandon Lee does not need like thick eyebrows. It's just insecure people. You're right. It's insecure people, and it's also people that, for whatever reason in their life, they need to go work out some frustration or rage in an anonymous space where they're totally safe from retaliation. That's all it is. And what's interesting is like, when the internet first became a thing and interacting with the internet first became a thing, we all kind of underwent this culture shock. Like, oh my God, that guy did you just see what he just said to me? I've never had anyone say that to me in my entire life. And, the gall of these people. And so if you're just walking into that and you experience that traumatic culture shock, then it does at least make some sense that people turn around and go, you know what? this media is awful, and we need to kind of rein it in, and we need to put controls in place and all this stuff to make it safer for everybody, right? Um, and that's a noble intention, but I don't think that that's the right action. I don't think that that's really the correct way to handle it, because yes, the internet is full of assholes, but you need, in my opinion, you need that freedom of the internet. You need that unbridled um, liberty of the internet. It serves a purpose. Without the internet being so basically, such a wild frontier, there have been a lot of advancements. There have been a lot of positives that have come from, people just kind of working off of pure anonymity, and being able to access and discuss the full limits of their being and their ability. Um, and yeah, in a lot of times it just results in shitty shit talking and awful people and poor unexcusable behavior. I get that. But there's also things that we need to be on the lookout for. When the marketplace of ideas gets threatened, as it is today, by extremists on both sides of the political leanings, you need the internet. You need that you need people, free thinking people, to be debating this stuff, discussing this stuff. And this movement to around, like, oh well, no, it's more important. Your free speech is cool and all, but it's more important that that feelings aren't hurt on the internet. You know, and I know that they don't present the argument that way. They talk about doxing and harassing and all that stuff. That's all real stuff, and I don't for a second want to pretend that stuff doesn't happen. Yes, that stuff, that's real stuff, but there's a way to engineer solutions around that aren't censorious. And there are also other factors to monitor potential situations like that aren't the internet, that don't happen on the internet. It can't happen on the internet. So to think to I think I'm on these people's side all up into the point where they start to say, well, we actually need to just start, scrubbing the internet, policing the internet, curbing the internet for against people with specific backgrounds, people with specific idea sets. I think that's where we get into trouble. I don't know why the hell we're like, I really don't know why the hell we're rambling like this. But whatever. I'm just painting these miniatures. I don't know what's up with Brandon Lee, but he does have quite the pomp going. My hair makes him proud. Like, we actually, holy shit. If you put a goatee on this guy and like give him that chubby dad bod with the flimsy arms, so that you're skinny and flabby at the same time, which according to Vince Vaughn is difficult to pull off. Who does this look like? He needs a little I have a little patch of gray right there and right there. That's funny. Oh well. I come from a construction worker type environment, so I've worked bar brawlers and toughs. So words don't really bother me because I know it would take them to have balls to tell me in real life. Yeah, no kidding. Right? And yeah, none of these guys would have the stones to walk up to you and tell you that kind of stuff. You know, from online gaming and stuff, I know firsthand that um, there are people that you just can't stand on the internet and you have problems with, and you think they're the worst people ever. And, you know, then you meet them in real life and you sit down, you have a beer with them, you have an actual conversation with them, and you realize that they're good people. You realize that they share a lot of the same concerns you have, that they cherish a lot of the same things you do. They're just coming at it from a different set of experiences. They're just from a different um, they're coming at it from a different mindset. And if you can see, if you can get those human moments together with these people, then most of the time, you're going to have some positivity come from that experience, and you might be a little more um, receptive to their outside influences and their opposing opinions, right? I mean, that's when we talk like the racism stuff. I tell people, like, look at the examples of people who are tackling racism, who are actively tackling racism, and I point them at the story of the guy's name escapes me now, but he's basically a jazz, or I'm sorry, he's like a rhythm and blues um, musician, and he plays in the South, and he was around since the time of the civil rights and all that kind of stuff, civil rights movement, and he has a number of friends who are KKK white supremacist guys, like, and um, and it just seems so odd, like, right, like black blues musician who's like friends with like a wizard. I think they're called a wizard or a cyclops of the KKK. And when you talk to this guy, he's like, look, yes, you can um, have legislation in place to protect people on the larger scale from bigotry and discrimination and that kind of thing. But if you really want to change hearts and minds, if you really want to attack the problem of bigotry, of inequality, of negative stereotypes and divisiveness, you got to do that on an individual level, right? You have to win over individuals, and you have to live your life out, to as an example that people on the other side can see, and it would challenge their worldview. You know what I mean? If you were, like, for example, let's say you were like one of those white supremacist guys, and you held a specific mindset and belief set, and but you also really liked music, you like jazz, you like blues and all this other stuff, and you have there's this certain performer that you just really enjoy, and he happens to be African American, um, and it doesn't bother you at first because you're like, yeah, whatever. You stereotypically say in your mind, oh well, there are musical people, and he's gonna be a good one, and that's all you think of it. But then you meet the guy, and he's super personable, and you figure out that he kind of figures out where you are politically, but he doesn't make it a big deal. You know what I mean? He still engages you as a person, and you start to see him as a person, and you start to see his specific plight and the kind of difficulties that he has to deal with. And all of that really does is that gives you individual level empathy, which is really the true answer to all of this crap anyways, right? Is person to person, one-on-one, get to know somebody and start to tear it down, start to tear the negative stereotypes and associations down with positive, real life experiences. And this guy, his story is just so amazing because, he has converted so many people away from the Ku Klux Klan, away from white nationalists and white supremacy and all that stuff, that like they're all friends with him. And even the ones that are still, that are still identitarian, that still follow that kind of thing, they at least can acknowledge that, hey, there are some really, really wonderful individuals out there. And maybe one day they can come around and it doesn't have to be a thing anymore. I just think that's super cool. Like I'm really, there are stories, and his story isn't the only one. There's a lot of stories like that where you really want to tackle discrimination, you really want to tackle bigotry, you do it on an individual basis because you've given this person a real relatable point and a face and a name and some real investment behind the opposition to their own ideology. You know what I mean? I don't know. I know I'm kind of all over the place tonight, but whatever. Just having fun. I also think my wife and I were talking about this tonight too, and I think I talked about it on the stream before that, if with everybody so concerned about words and the specific use of words and all this other kind of stuff, that, I think that really the best way to disarm these words isn't to run and hide in fear of them, but it's, in my opinion, it's to bring them out into the light and laugh at them and joke about them. And you can turn slurs into jokes, like Blazing Saddles. You can turn it into such a joke that if anyone did take these slurs seriously, then they just become a joke. And you can just so easily disarm them with humor. But today, these days, do people really know how to laugh anymore? Does this younger generation of kids, I've seen some of the stuff that they watch and stuff, and I'm like, that's not even funny. They're not even attempting any humor, and nobody seems to push boundaries, at least not in any sort of meaningfully humorous way. That's how you, in my opinion, that's how you disarm stuff like that. Is you make fun of it and you're laughing at it, and especially like if it's your own. Like for me personally, I'm just gonna tell you, like my favorite racial epithet is slope. It's the funniest one to me. I love the word slope. Super funny. And there's that scene in Pulp Fiction where Christopher Walken, he's presenting a watch to the son of his fallen vet, that POW vet, that he made it out of Vietnam or whatever, and made it back to the States and visited the guy's kid, and he's like, I kept this watch up my ass for 2 years. Be damned if some slope put his greasy mitts on it. And I just think it's the funniest thing ever, right? I just think it's super funny. I lost the like. That's funny. Somebody got mad. But anyway, it's funny to me, and it's because you can just disarm it by laughing at it, right? If I think it's funny and somebody's trying to use it in actual anger, can they? Can they, oh, dirty slope, I hate your thing. And I just laugh and I'm like, that is the funniest thing I've heard all day. Thank you. Can you imagine like the confusion? Like, whoa, you are a dirty slope. Yeah, Dirty Slope is hilarious. This Dirty Slope just like took your woman and made more money than you. Like that's like it's just funny. Like you can do stuff like that and it's super funny. But anyway, um, let's see. I work with a guy who is in white supremacist gang in prison. I told him you suck as an Aryan Brotherhood. You have to make Mexican friends. He looked at me confused and then laughed. No, yeah, seriously. I mean, it's you're reaching out to people. You're engaging them the way that people should ultimately be all engaged as individuals. Like yes, you know, it's when we first see you, it's easy to categorize you based on skin color, based on what's between your legs, even based on what you like to where you want to stick the stuff that's in between your legs. It's very easy to categorize you that way. But ultimately, as a person, as a fully realized human being, does it have to be just that? Are you a slave to those demographics? Because I'm not, and I never considered myself one. The minute I say that, the world is reduced me to, I don't know, skin color, and that's all I'll ever be in the eyes of the world, that's the day that I admit defeat as a person. And it's like, well, why bother? You know, again, like it's an interesting part of your culture and who you are, but it's not it it really shouldn't be the defining thing of the defining thing of who you are. The circumstances of your birth. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't know. That's just again, just my opinion on it. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like there should be at least a half dozen to a dozen other things that you say, okay, that's more definitive of me as a person. These actions, these accomplishments, um, these opinions and these stances, those make up really more of who I am and what I'm about than the stupid tone of my skin or, you know, the thing that's dangling between my legs. Like those are things that you didn't even earn. Those are just circumstances of your birthright. And the minute we understand that that's all they really are, just random circumstances of birth, the better we'll be in terms of just helping people understand other people and say, okay, so on the surface, you're this and this and this, but who are you really? And what are you about really? What do you want us to know about you? What do you want to be remembered for? What do you hate? What do you despise? What are you opposed to? What are you for? That's all way more important than all this other crap that the current day and age that we're told to be more concerned about. That's the easiest way to divide people, though, and it's the historical formula for humanitarian crimes was to separate people by some circumstance of their birth, assert a higher moral position of one group of people versus the other, and then punish the other group of people. Right? That's the exact formula for everything from the slaughter of the Native Americans to the Holocaust to the Spanish Inquisition to the Salem witch trials. They all use that template. And so now, the modern social justice are saying, oh, no, 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 we're different, but we're going to use the exact same formula. Um, like, be careful, man. Like, understand, like, follow some history. That's the pattern. That is the pattern. Divide people by the circumstances of their birth, assert morality of one group as being higher or superior than the other, and then proceed to strip away the rights and start to punish the other group. Again, look it up over and over and over again throughout history. That's how it works. And to think that, oh, no, this time's different. This time we know it's best for people. This time we're going to protect people. I mean, you're not paying attention to history. You're not. It doesn't work that way. A free world doesn't work that way. People should be allowed to go down the streets spewing whatever disgusting nonsense they want to say. Because what they're doing is they're bringing into light how stupid and disgusting they are. And if you let them just do that, and you beat them down with facts, and you beat them down with truth and with knowledge, then then the people that you're worried about, the general public, will see who's being the rational person, who is the person that's protecting the freedoms of all people. They see that, right? It's just crazy. It's crazy the when you try to deplatform people, when you try to take away when you try to take away their ability to share with you how stupid they really are, well, you're making them look smart, and you're giving them power. Why would you do that? Why would you give a bunch of stupid bigots power? Let them walk down the street. Let them show the world how stupid they are. And then look at them, laugh at them, walk away, ignore them. That's it. That's what you do. You go, wow, that's really stupid. And thank you for proving our point by walking, thank you for walking down the street chanting hateful shit and just proving that we're right about you. That's all you have to do. But there's no giant moral win there. There's no movie moment doing that. You know what I mean? People aren't going to run out in the streets. They're just, oh, did you hear what he said? He's really looking out for us. Like, that doesn't happen. Okay, you're not going to get that. I don't know. Man, I talk a gang of shit, but that's what we do. Miss Rothrock is not. She's just not very attractive. This miniature defang individual. I like that. But imagine being able to go like, somebody's like, oh, I hate you. I hate your kind. You don't belong here in this country. Yada yada yada. And and the people in like my dad's generation going, you know what? You feel that way, but here, let's go have a beer together. Let's go hang out. Like, get to know me. I want to know who you are. Like, let's get to know each other. Like, our own parents had to deal with that stuff, and they turned people around. My dad took our family to Kansas, middle of the country, right as the Vietnam War was ending. And I was still in my mom's belly, and my 4 siblings were all young kids here in the US. And, you would think that like we wouldn't last 5 seconds out in that part of the country. But as it would turn out, we were mainly met with a lot of really hospitable people. And some of them might have harbored some discriminatory sentiment against us, but we would go get to know them, and we would get to, eventually kind of let them form up their opinion. Are we really as bad as they thought we were? Even as a like as recent as say 10 years ago, I befriended a skinhead down here in Orange County. I mean, he was a full-blown skinhead white supremacist guy. And by all accounts, he should hate me, right? I'm an immigrant, came to this country and did better than he did in school, and made something of myself, and then took a white woman, and you know what I mean? Like, by all accounts, a white supremacist should hate that, right? But he got to know me, and I got to know him. We got to be friends, and it's like, dude. And he would, even at the end of it, though, like before he moved away, he would just admit to me stuff. Like, he's like, hey, man, like, you're cool with me, but I still don't like, I don't know, the Jews. I still don't like black people or whatever. And I'd be like, and and you're like, oh, it crushes me, because you like the guy and you just want to be able to turn him around. But if I were to forcefully do it, if I were to say, you know what, you're a dick, we're not going to hang out together. I hate you. You're just and I would try to like get him fired from his job or something like that. What do you think that does? Right? Turning a person around, turning their heart around it takes a long time. And you're not just going to do that by, by calling the cops on the guy. If the guy's actually, if he said, you know what, I'm down with you, but I'm still going to bomb that synagogue. Yeah, call the cops on that guy. You know what I mean? Yes, call the police on that guy if he says that. You know what, I don't like you, but I'm going to go down the street and I'm going to shoot this guy. Like, call the police. I get it. But there's a difference between that and saying that, oh, well, when he said he didn't like black people, that's violence. It's not violence. It's terrible. Like, it's a disgusting thing to say, and there's no excuse for it, and it shouldn't be excused. But that's not violence. What people are doing today is they're saying, okay, so that's violence. Therefore, I have the right to commit violence to this person. And I think that's where we're way out of line. And I think that's where the message of tolerance and empathy and all that stuff sadly just takes a nosedive. And it's really upsetting to see that, that's supposed to be the right side. That's supposed to be the correct side. The people are saying tolerance. The people are saying, equality. And, don't be a supremacist. But they're saying don't be a supremacist, and then they're just pulling some hateful shit. It's like, we're gonna stop this right here by being, hateful to this person. Is the person saying hateful things? Yes. Does that person, should that give you the right to unload unsolicited violence on that person? Absolutely not. Right? And we get it. We get that Captain America fought them in World War II, and so did our grandparents. And my granddad died in World War II fighting the Japanese in the Philippine Islands. Right? Like, my granddad fought alongside the Americans. That doesn't give me the right to walk up and go, hey, are you a Japanese loyalist? Yes, and then just punch the guy in the face. Like, I don't get to just do that. Okay, there's no that. Yeah. Like, once you have justified violence and introduced it into the equation, then you're fucked. Basically, you've opened the floodgates, and now awful shit is going to happen. And for all your talk of unity and peace and tolerance, you just killed it. You just killed all your messaging, and all you did was you drove a wedge in between the two groups of people that probably could have healed a lot better without, you know, without you basically, because it's an emotional response. It's an emotional response when that kind of stuff happens. Let's see. That's what makes you awesome. I've met many Asians that don't want to be friends with Japanese people because that shit went on 70 plus years ago. You know what? My mom was, up until the time she died, was deeply distrustful of Japanese people. And my wife's grandmother, who's Australian, was deeply, deeply prejudiced against Japanese people because they were alive. My mom had to bury my granddad after he died in the war. She was 5 years old. Like, that's some traumatic shit, right? I'm gonna give her a pass there, right? And one of my best friends, in high school and a little after high school, he's Japanese, and I'd bring him home, and my mom would be like, "He's Japanese. Why do you hang out with him?" Um, she was like that at first, and at the end, like, he was like another son to my mom. Like, he was there when my nephew was born. My sister went into labor. He took her to the hospital. He stayed with her until the rest of us could get there. He was with her in the like in the delivery room and everything, right? Like, this guy became like another member of our family. And that's what helped my mom, you know, kind of see that, hey, yeah, you have some shit against Japanese people because of your, your childhood in the war, but that doesn't mean that all Japanese people are like that. Um, and like I was saying, my wife's grandmother hated the Japanese people because she was Australian. She lived in Australia during World War II, and she has memories of what the Japanese did in the Pacific Campaign. So I don't know. It's that's really how you fix this kind of stuff. You do it. You do it individually, and it's interactions like that. That was really a really cool thing for me to see too, because even when I first met my buddy in high school, and he told me he was Japanese, and all that stuff was handed down from my mom, like, oh, don't trust Japanese people because World War II and all this other stuff. Um, I don't know. Pretty legit though. There's only one race, the human race. When I walk into hobby shops, I'm well aware that they tense up because I don't look like the customer base. So I may look like Machete to them, but they ease up when they see I'm friendly. That's right, huh? They're like, oh man, this Mexican guy just walked in here. Is he gonna rob us? What's going on? He doesn't look like, you know, the normal customers that walk in. I could totally see that happening. It's funny. It's really cool though, because you, you live in this you live in the world that they do. You can speak their language. You're looking for, um, and you're looking to add to the world of miniature gaming and all that stuff. That's the coolest part. But yeah, it's true. Like, there's this there's just that initial bias that just happens. Like, oh, this guy walked into the shop, and I don't know, why is he in here? Is he lost? Is he gonna, and then all the horrible, horrible negative stereotypes that just flash through heads. Like, oh man, is this guy gonna do something? Should we call the cops? I mean, I'm laughing about it. It's really kind of shitty when it comes down to it, but it's the reality. It's that's that's what really, it's the reality. And if we can't talk about it, then that makes it even worse, if you ask me. If we can't like openly discuss, yeah, there's people out there that they're scared. You walk in and they see what you look like, and you don't look like they do, and they're scared of you. You should be allowed to discuss that. and they should be allowed to express their fears to you, as as you know, because it's like, oh well, the last time somebody that walked in and had a really short haircut like you did, and he came in and very different experience. He didn't ask us if where the painting supplies were. He asked us where's the cash in the register, and he wasn't asking. I mean, if somebody goes through that, they should be okay sharing that experience with you and sharing that concern. I think that's, you know what I mean? I think that's fair. There were another example, like with my wife, is um, her one of her friends, one of her guy friends, um, his sister uh, went out with a Filipino guy, and the Filipino guy treated his sister like shit, cheated on her, just did awful things, was never on the level with her or him or their family or anything like that. And he warned her. He warned my wife, like, "Hey, watch out for them Filipino guys. I had a bad experience with one of them." And she relayed that to me, and I'm like, you know what? That's a legit concern. You don't. That's the thing about being a minority, is it's that um, yeah, you're stereotyped, but you're judged based on just a very small amount of interactions that people have with other people of your race or religion or sexuality or whatever. You're judged by that, and that used to be a thing. Like, it used to be um, that used to be a thing. I remember in Connecticut, the very few amount of black people that were in Connecticut in the 80s, they would tell each other, like, look, no, you have to be an example because we're getting judged on interactions that we don't have any control of. But because we're a minority and because it's sort of human nature to associate things, you still have to, you know, try to understand that in some way, whether you agree with it or not, you can form the basis of a person's association with a group of people. Sad, unfortunate, but true. That the human brain looks to make associations, and it's not. I'm not trying to excuse um, stereotypical developments and behavior, but that's that's what it is. Let's see. I had someone call the cops on me for going into someone's house. Mind you that I'm taking care of the other family's dog. The thing that made me shake my head was I was wearing all white. What robber wears all white? Is there a white ninja I don't know about besides Shadow Storm Shadow? I don't know, man. Maybe you were Black Storm Shadow. It's hilarious. This story is amazing. Thank goodness a cop looked at me and said, "You have a key for the house." I showed her the key and she said, "Have a nice day." That's some scary shit, though. That's some scary shit. Like, imagine, with all the shit going on with the cops and the news and all that kind of stuff. It's scary, man. It's scary. Cops are they're I, I can't really blame them either. Two of my brothers are cops, so I really have like the utmost respect for the badge. Um, but the fact of the matter is, there are people getting into law enforcement that I don't think we're doing the best job of equipping these people to deal with, potentially violent situations. In other words, I think what I'm trying to say is that, like, we might be showing these cops how to shoot, teaching them how to shoot, teaching them how to handle their weapon, but I don't think we're putting people out there that can exercise the best judgment in the heat of the moment. And I also think that there is some truth to that. Some cops just get off on being brutal and exercising violent levels of authority on people. I think that's true. I think that there's some truth to that because, you know, my brothers will even tell you too, like hey, we work with some guys on the force that are just dicks, like straight up dicks, and they can't wait to punch another person in the face or to cuff a guy, to beat a guy down, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Cops are humans just like everybody else. But the part that scares me is that these are the people that we trust to wield government sanctioned violence on people. And in my opinion, um, people, cops, teachers, firefighters, healthcare professionals, and airplane pilots, in my opinion, they don't make enough money. They don't make enough money, and they're not in training long enough. Airplane pilots are it's crazy when you think about it, right? These guys are flying all day, every day. There's thousands of passengers' lives at stake, and the average airplane pilot, that statistics are saying that the average airplane pilot makes less money than a manager of McDonald's. That's freaking ridiculous to me. That's crazy to me. That um, that I'm getting on this plane, I'm sitting on this plane, and the guy flying the plane isn't making as much money as the other guy that's telling people, oh, don't forget to pull the fries out of the fryer, and here's your shift for tomorrow. Like that scares the shit out of me. You know what I mean? That's stuff like that. And then you think about cops too, and um, yeah, they go through the academy. Yes, they go through a pretty extensive background check and all this stuff. But what else could we be doing to make sure that the people that we entrust to protect us and protect our communities are, the best, the cream of the crop, that are the finest um, uh, defenders of our society and our communities. Um, and again, this is not a knock on the police force. If anything, this is a, can we please help the police, like, groom the proper people and groom the right behaviors? Because if you're when you're the guy that's holding holding the trigger, that's pulling the trigger, that has the power of life and death in your hands, and if you make one wrong move, somebody innocent gets killed. Like, man, it's, and not to mention yourself, not to mention that every day that you go out to work, you put your own life on the line. Let's not forget that these guys have families. Like, my brother has he has a wife and two kids and two grandkids now at home, and every day he gets in his car and he drives off, and it's like, do you know if he's going to come home? You know what I mean? This guy's pulling he's pulling sex offenders, child molesters, felons off the street. And these guys are, if they're trying to avoid capture, they're gonna use whatever means they've got at their disposal. So, but there's there's a difference between that and being able to make the right decision in the clutch versus some of these just really, really awful um, judgment calls made by police, and sometimes by the perps too. The perps do stupid shit too. Like, I'm just gonna keep, they tell me to stop. I'm just gonna keep walking forward. And the guy gets shot. Well, you are a threat. You are a threat. We're not gonna. Anyways, I don't really want to get too far into that, but that's kind of um, the take home for me is that it's abysmal that we don't pay these people that have human lives on the line as well as you think we would. It's crazy to me that, again, there's an airplane pilot, the average airline pilot does not make as much money as the guy managing McDonald's. That scares the shit out of me. I get on planes all the time for work. I got to fly places. And I think about it. I sit in that seat and I'm like, please tell me this guy has had enough sleep the night before. Please tell me that this guy wasn't sitting at the bar, in the terminal. I've seen that. You see pilots pull up to the bar and you're like, yeah, I get it. You need a drink, buddy. Can you not do it in your freaking uniform? Because that scares the shit out of me. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's anyway. Sometimes it's like the airline stuff pisses me off too, but that's a whole other hour of us talking. I did not finish the miniatures. I got awful damn close though. I mean, this chick's eyes are way too close together. I don't know what's going on there. And she almost looks like on camera. Yeah, her eyes look weird. I don't know what's going on there. We'll have to look at that. This guy's like, his eyes are kind of buggy too. He looks pretty cool though, except for that stupid mold line right there. And then you got Bruce Lee's looking pretty cool. He's looking pretty cool. He needs a lot more skin work. But they're coming along. And then you got Brandon. Brandon's looking okay. Yeah. So anyways, it's like 12:30 at night. Shit. I gotta get up early and go to work. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I don't know. Tomorrow's gaming night for me. I don't know if I might throw my laptop with me and record a game. I doubt it though, because I got a lot of stuff to carry around. But I would like to try to stream something. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the crazy ramble that I went on. But we'll be streaming again sometime soon. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.